Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could the clerk please report House Committee Substitute 1?
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 805.
Gentleman from Whitley.
For discussion on the committee substitute, I yield to the gentleman from Ohio.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and gentleman from Whitley. First of all, I'd like to thank the gentleman from Christian, the lady from Grayson, and the gentleman from Whitley again for the work on this sub that really will benefit children throughout this great Commonwealth. This sub is called the Baby Maya language. I'm sure some of you all have heard about that in the past year, and it really is one of the saddest cases of abuse that I've ever seen. This sub is not to blame anyone, but to put guardrails in place to try and prevent a case like Baby Maya's from ever happening again in the state of Kentucky. The ultimate blame rests solely on the parents who had the responsibility to protect her. Baby Maya was found dead in her home, wrapped in plastic at 8 months old. When her autopsy came back, she had meth in her system. Baby Maya's parents had 3 other children who were removed from the home preceding Baby Maya's birth. After leaving the hospital with her parents, social services were unable to locate her until several months later. This committee sub intends to put procedures in place to protect all of our precious children. This committee sub is to honor her. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Whitley.
Thank you, gentleman from Ohio, for that discussion testimony. Mr. Speaker, I move for adoption of House Committee Substitute 1.
Question for the body is on adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Whitley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As was just heard, it's a colossal job for us as lawmakers and for the Cabinet of Family and Health Services to try to protect these children and do what we can for the worst case scenario to happen. Last year we passed House Bill 271 to define and codify some of the practices that the Cabinet implements. Today there is House Bill 805 to hopefully provide some cleanup for that bill we passed last year. There are some definition changes, some changes made at the recommendation of victims advocates such as Zero V, and the hope is that we perfect this process eventually to look out for our children. So, Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I would move for passage of House Bill 805 as amended by House Committee Substitute 1.